Hey everyone, welcome back to Hey English, podcast with Philip and Gracie. I'm Philip.
And I'm Gracie. How's everyone doing today? We've got a practical and really useful topic to dive into today. So if you're learning English and want to sound more natural at home, this one's for you.
Yes, today we're talking about household chores. Now, I know chores might not sound glamorous or exciting, but they're actually a huge part of everyday life. And learning the right words for cleaning, cooking, and organizing can help you feel way more comfortable talking about day-to-day stuff in English.
Totally. And when you think about it, household chores are something we all have in common, right? No matter where you're from, you're probably sweeping floors, doing dishes, and folding laundry.
Exactly. Plus, if you're chatting with someone about your day or what you did over the weekend, chores are usually part of the story. It's pretty common for English speakers to say things like, I spent my Saturday cleaning up, or I need to declutter my closet. So, knowing these words makes it easier to talk about your life in English.
Absolutely. And think about this. If you're planning to travel or even live in an English-speaking country, these chores don't disappear, right? You'll need to know how to ask,
Where's the vacuum? Or understand when someone says, can you please dust the shelves? Right. Or if you're staying with an English speaking friend or family, they might even ask you to help out. Imagine they say, can you mop the kitchen? You don't want to be standing there wondering what mop means.
exactly. It's all about making these words feel natural to you. And here's a fun fact. Learning words related to cleaning, cooking, and organizing can actually help build your vocabulary and give you confidence. Plus, you get to use them every day, so you'll remember them better.
Good point, Gracie. And here's the thing. Some of these words have double meanings or can be used in creative ways, like take the word cleaning up. You can use it literally, like cleaning up the table, but you can also use it in a fun, informal way, like cleaned up in that game, meaning he won big.
Ooh, yes. That's such a good example, Philip. And that's something we'll do today, too. Talk about how some of these phrases can be used in other ways. So by the end of this episode, you'll not only have practical vocabulary, but you'll also sound a bit more natural when you're speaking English.
All right, so here's how today's episode will go. First, we'll dive into learning vocabulary with words like dusting, which I sound sweeping and mopping. Then we'll jump into cooking words, because let's face it, food is a universal language. Oh, yes, and I'll be sharing some useful organizing phrases like declutter,
Sort and store.
which are really helpful for when you want to keep things tidy. Perfect. So if you're ready, grab a notebook, or even better, listen to this while you're doing your chores at home. Practicing these words while you actually do the tasks is a great way to remember them.
Yes. And remember, don't worry if you don't get everything perfect right away. Language learning is about progress, not perfection. Just listening and trying out these words at home is a fantastic start.
Absolutely. So, whether you're an English learner or just looking to brush up on some vocabulary, stick with us. By the end, household chores might not seem so ordinary. They might just be the perfect way to master some real life English.
All right. So without further ado, let's get started with cleaning.
Words. So, Gracie, do you have a favorite cleaning task?
Hmm. I wouldn't say it's my favorite.
But I don't mind dusting. It's simple and it makes a big difference. You know, when you walk into a room and the surfaces are clean, it just feels fresh. Yeah, dusting is actually a nice one to start with. So let's break that down for everyone. Dusting means using a cloth or a duster to clean off surfaces. A sentence might be, I need to dust the shelves in the living room. Simple, but super useful.
Exactly. And a tip for everyone listening. You can also say,
Can you dust the table for me? If you're asking someone to help you, it's a polite and direct way to get some help around the house. Good tip! Now, one cleaning task that I don't mind is sweeping. It's the one where you use a broom to clean the floor, so you might hear someone say, I'm sweeping the kitchen floor before dinner. It's especially useful if there are crumbs or dirt around. Sweeping is a big one. I think everyone has had to sweep at some point, right? But what about stopping?
That's when you clean the floor with a mop and water. For example,
The kids spilled juice, so I need to mop the floor. It's a lifesaver for sticky messes. Totally. And mopping is one of those words you'll hear a lot, especially in kitchens or bathrooms. Speaking of bathrooms, here's one that's not my favorite, but it's necessary: scrubbing. That's when you use a brush or sponge to really clean something that's extra dirty, like a sink or a bathtub.
ah, yes, and it's a good workout. You might hear people say,
I need to scrub the sink.
especially if it's got, tough stains or buildup, it's a little more intense than just wiping.
That's true. It's cleaning and exercise in one. Here's one more for you: vacuuming. It's basically using a vacuum cleaner to pick up dirt from carpets or floors. So you could say, I need to vacuum the living room before guests arrive.
Yes, and vacuuming is a great one because you can use it as a verb too, like vacuumed the whole house today.
It's a super common task in any home with carpet or rugs. Perfect. So, just to recap, we've got dusting for some cleaning surfaces, sweeping and mopping of floors, scrubbing for the deep cleaning, and vacuuming for the carpets. These are some essentials you'll hear all the time.
And if you're learning English, try using these words next time you're doing chores. Even if you're talking to yourself like,
Okay, time to mop the kitchen. It helps build that vocabulary. Definitely. The more you say it, the easier it gets. So, are you feeling motivated to tackle some cleaning now, Gracie?
maybe, I think I'll start with dusting. It's the least work. How about you?
I might do some sweeping later, but for now, let's keep the lesson going. How about we get into cooking vocabulary next? All right, let's move into the kitchen. Cooking vocabulary is one of my favorites because, well, who doesn't love food, right?
Right? Cooking is so universal, and having the right words can really help you feel at home in any kitchen. So, let's start with some basics. One word I think everyone should know is chop. When you chop something, you're cutting it into small pieces. Like, I need to chop the onions for the sauce.
Perfect example, Gracie. And here's one you'll probably use a lot: boil. To boil means to heat water or another liquid until it bubbles. So you could say, I'm boiling water for pasta. It's such a common thing when you're cooking.
Yes, boiling is essential. And another one I love is saute. It's when you cook food quickly in a little bit of oil or butter, usually in a pan. A lot of people will say something like, I'm sauteing some vegetables for a stir fry. It sounds fancy, but is actually pretty easy.
Sautéing makes any dish sound delicious. Another one that's similar but different is fry. This means cooking something in hot oil. You can use it for a lot of things, like I'm frying eggs for breakfast. It's a staple in so many kitchens.
Exactly, and it's good to know the difference between frying and sauteing. Oh, and here's another important one: bake. This is when you cook food in an oven. So if you're making bread or cookies, you'd say, I'm baking cookies for dessert. It's all about the oven with baking.
Baking is a big one. And if you're baking, you might also mix ingredients. This just means combining things together, like I need to mix the flour and sugar for the cake batter. Mixing is key in so many recipes.
Yes, and speaking of mixing, we can't forget about stirring. When you stir, you're moving a spoon or another utensil around in a liquid or mixture. For example, stir the soup so it doesn't stick to the pot. A small but important task when cooking.
Stirring keeps things from burning. Definitely a good one to know. So, just to summarize, we've got chop, boil, saute, fry, bake, mix, and stir. All key cooking actions that you'll come across in any recipe.
Yes, and they're easy to remember once you start using them. In fact, if you're cooking at home, try to narrate what you're doing in English. Like, now, I'm chopping the vegetables. Or, next, I'll boil the pasta. It's a great practice.
That's such a good tip. The more you talk about what you're doing, the easier it'll be to remember these words. And who knows? You might even impress someone next time you cook.
Exactly. Cooking is all about experimenting and having fun. And now you have the words to talk about it in English, too.
All right, we've got one more area to cover today: Are you ready to get organized, Gracie?
Let's do it. Organizing vocabulary coming right up. So, Philip, we've cleaned, we've cooked. Now it's time to tackle organizing. Tell me, are you an organized person?
Well, I try to be, but let's just say my desk sometimes looks like a tornado went through it. But when I declutter, I feel so much better. And that's a great word for today. Declutter. It means getting rid of things you don't need. For example, I need to declutter my closet this weekend. Decluttering is so satisfying. And once you've decluttered, the next step is to sort.
That's when you group similar things together. Like,
I sorted my clothes into shirts, pants, and jackets. It's such a simple word, but it's super handy. Totally. And after sorting, you might want to label things. To label, that means to write or attach a name or description to something so you know what it is. You could say, I labeled all the boxes in the storage room. It's especially helpful if you're organizing a lot of stuff. Yes, labeling is a lifesaver. And once everything is labeled, you'll probably want to arrange it.
that just means putting things in a specific order or place. Like,
I arrange the books on the shelf by color. It makes everything look so neat. Exactly. And here's one more for you. Store. This is when you put something away for future use. For example, I stored the winter clothes in the attic. It's a simple word, but it's all about keeping things tidy and out of the way. That's such an important one. And if you're storing things, you might also stack them.
this means putting things on top of each other in a neat pile. Like,
I stack the boxes in the corner to save space. Stacking is a great space saver. So let's recap. We've got to declutter, sort, label, arrange, store, and stack. All these words are perfect for organizing anything from your desk to your entire house.
right. And just like with cleaning and cooking, you can practice these words while you're organizing. For example, you could say,
Today, I'm going to declutter the kitchen and store the extra utensils. It's a great way to build confidence. Absolutely. And organizing isn't just about the physical space, it's also about clearing your mind. When your surroundings are neat, it feels like you can think more clearly, don't you think?
completely. A little organizing goes a long way. And now our listeners have the vocabulary they need to talk about it. And do it.
Exactly. So, Gracie, what's the first thing on your organizing list?
I think I'll the declutter.
My desk. It's been on my to-do list for weeks. What about you? I might label some of boxes in my closet. I've been meaning to for ages. But first, let's wrap up with a quick tip for our listeners.
Good idea. Listeners, remember to take it step by step. Whether it's cleaning, cooking, or organizing, learning these words and using them in real life will make them stick.
And have fun with it. Every little effort counts, and now you've got the vocabulary to make it even easier. Great job today, everyone. All right, Gracie, we've covered cleaning, cooking, and organizing, and now it's time for a little fun. Are you ready for a quick challenge?
Oh, I love challenges. What's the game?
It's called the Quick Chore Challenge. I'm going to give you a chore, and you have to use one of the words we just learned: cleaning, cooking, or organizing related words, and make a sentence with it as quickly as possible. You ready?
Sounds fun. Let's do it.
Okay, here's the first one. Your chore is vacuuming the living room. Go. All right,
I need to vacuum the living room to declutter the floor and make it look neat. How is that?
perfect. You used declutter in there too. Nicely done. All right, next one. How about preparing the dinner for guests? Okay, here we go.
I'm going to saute some vegetables and bake the chicken for dinner tonight.
Nice. You even threw in the saute and the bake. You're on fire. Let's keep it going. Now, your chore is organizing the closet. Easy.
I'll sort my clothes by color, then arrange them neatly in the closet.
Wow, you're fast. All right, last one. Cleaning the kitchen counters. Okay,
I'm going to wipe down the counters and store the dishes in the cupboard.
boom! Another great sentence. You're really getting the hang of these words, Gracie.
Thanks, Philip. That was actually really fun. It's a great way to practice using these words in a real life context.
Exactly. And listeners, you can try this challenge too. Pick a chore, say it out loud, and use one of the words we taught you today. It'll help you get comfortable and make it stick.
Plus, it makes chores a little more fun when you can practice your English while doing them. So challenge yourself every day, whether it's cooking, cleaning, or organizing.
All right, Gracie, we'll wrap it up here, but I think we're both ready to tackle our chores with some new vocabulary.
Absolutely. Thanks for the challenge, Philip. That was a blast.
Anytime, and thank you, listeners, for joining us today. Keep practicing, and we'll see you next time with more fun ways to improve your English. Gracie. Well, that was a lot of fun, Philip. We've covered so much today, from cleaning, cooking, and organizing, to even having a quick challenge to practice our new words. Yeah, it really shows how these words are everywhere in our daily lives, and the more you use them, the easier it becomes to remember them, right?
Exactly. Whether you're cleaning up, cooking a meal, or organizing your space, these words help you describe what you're doing. And now, we hope you feel more confident using them in your everyday conversations.
Absolutely. And don't forget, you don't need to wait for the next podcast to practice. Start today. Next time you're doing something around the house, try using these words and sentences out loud.
Also, we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and tell us which words you found most helpful, or even share your own sentences. We're here to cheer you on.
Yes, and if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. It really helps support the channel and reach more English learners like you.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our future episodes.
We've got more exciting topics coming up to help you improve your English in fun and practical ways. So keep practicing, stay motivated, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Take care, everyone, and happy cleaning, cooking, and organizing in English.
See you next time, and thanks for watching.